At 2 in the morning, your dog has its own soft bed somewhere in the house, yet it still climbs onto your bed, turns around a few times, and settles right beside your feet, taking up almost half the mattress. Many people think this happens simply because dogs want warmth, out of habit, or because they are overly attached to their owners. But the science of animal behavior suggests a completely different story. For most animals, sleep is the most vulnerable state. When they sleep, they lose awareness and cannot react quickly to danger. Natural instinct usually drives animals to hide in quiet, protected places to rest. Yet dogs often do the opposite. They ignore the quiet corners of the house and choose to lie next to a human many times larger than themselves. This behavior is not just about seeking warmth. Scientists have discovered that dogs form attachments to their owners in a way that closely resembles the relationship between a child and their mother. They tend to seek out the person who makes them feel safest, especially during vulnerable moments like sleep. So when your dog chooses to sleep beside you every night, it is not simply clinginess. It is their way of saying that in their world, you are the safest place they know. But the story of why dogs like being close to humans does not end with psychology. Behind this behavior lies a remarkable biological mechanism. Researchers at Azabu University in Japan conducted a famous study published in the scientific journal Science. They wanted to understand what happens inside the body when dogs and their owners interact. In the study, scientists measured the oxytocin levels of 30 dog-owner pairs. Oxytocin is often called the bonding hormone because it appears when humans feel love and trust, such as when a mother holds her newborn child. Interestingly, when a dog looks into its owner's eyes and the owner looks back, oxytocin levels increase in both of them at the same time. This creates a unique emotional feedback loop. When the dog looks at its owner, the owner's oxytocin rises, making them feel more affectionate and prompting them to continue looking at the dog. This, in turn, raises the dog's oxytocin level, encouraging it to maintain eye contact. The cycle continues, strengthening the bond between the two species. Scientists also tried the same experiment with wolves raised by humans. However, the effect did not occur. This suggests that the bonding mechanism is the result of thousands of years of coevolution between dogs and humans. Physical contact also has a powerful effect. Simply petting a dog for about 10 minutes can significantly reduce the stress hormone cortisol in both the human and the dog. So when a dog sleeps beside you for hours during the night, the biological and emotional connection between the two of you may become even stronger. The relationship between humans and dogs is not new. In fact, this bond began long before humans learned to farm or build cities. Scientists believe that dog domestication started about 15,000 years ago, when wild wolves first approached human camps to search for food, warmth, and safety. Over many generations, wolves that were more tolerant of humans had a higher chance of survival. They were less fearful, easier to approach, and gradually formed a cooperative relationship with people. These traits were passed down to their descendants, eventually leading to the dogs we know today. Animals that not only live alongside humans, but actively seek closeness and connection with us. An interesting piece of evidence supporting this ancient bond was discovered in an archaeological burial site in Germany. Researchers found a grave dating back about 14,000 years in which 2 humans were buried alongside 2 dogs. Remarkably, one of the dogs had suffered from a severe illness, canine distemper, a disease that usually kills dogs quickly. Yet the animal survived for several weeks, indicating that someone must have cared for it during its illness. This discovery suggests that even tens of thousands of years ago, dogs were not merely working animals, but members of human families. Modern genetic research supports this idea as well. Scientists have found that dogs possess specific genetic changes related to friendliness and the tendency to seek human contact, traits that wolves do not share. For this reason, when your dog climbs onto the bed and sleeps beside you every night, the behavior is far from random. It is the result of thousands of years of evolution shaping dogs to feel safe, bonded, and most comfortable when they are close to humans. Many people assume that sleeping with a dog disrupts human sleep. In reality, a study by the Mayo Clinic monitored the sleep of 40 people and their dogs over 7 nights using specialized sleep tracking devices. The results showed that dogs can indeed affect sleep. They may move, stretch, or shift positions during the night, occasionally waking their owners for brief moments. However, what is interesting is that despite this measurable disruption, most participants reported that they actually slept better with their dog nearby. They felt calmer, safer, and more relaxed than when sleeping alone. This raises an intriguing question. Why do people feel more rested even when their sleep is technically interrupted? Another study conducted at Canisius College surveyed nearly 1,000 women about their experience sleeping with dogs. Many participants reported that dogs were less disruptive sleep companions than their human partners. Dogs were more predictable, caused fewer emotional disturbances, and often created a stronger sense of safety. Researchers using motion tracking devices found that owners often woke up briefly whenever their dogs moved, but the awakenings were so short that people rarely remembered them the next morning. This means that although minor physical interruptions occur, the feeling of comfort and security provided by the dog outweighs those disruptions. In reality, throughout most of human history, people rarely slept alone. Our ancestors often slept in groups to increase safety against threats. Because of this, the human nervous system may be naturally accustomed to the presence of another warm, breathing being nearby during sleep. A dog's presence may activate this ancient sense of safety. A 2024 study from the University of Jyväskylä in Finland even found that the heart rate and nervous system states of dogs and their owners can synchronize while resting. When the owner becomes calm, the dog becomes calm as well, and vice versa. This suggests that sleeping next to a dog may involve a form of biological regulation between two living bodies. So even though a dog may sometimes take up too much space on the bed or wake you briefly during the night, its presence can still bring a deeper sense of comfort and relaxation to your sleep. There is one important detail that many dog owners often overlook. If your dog has been sleeping beside you for months or years, but suddenly stops doing so, one day it may not be something to ignore. Dogs usually maintain very stable daily habits. When a familiar behavior suddenly changes, there is almost always a reason behind it. Sometimes the cause may come from changes in the environment. For example, a new pet may appear in the house, another person may move in, or your daily routine might shift. Dogs are extremely sensitive to changes in their living environment. Something that seems insignificant to humans may make them feel uneasy or unsettled. However, in many cases, the change may be related to the dog's health. Veterinary researchers have found that changes in sleeping location can sometimes be an early sign that a dog is experiencing pain or physical discomfort. For example, if a dog that used to jump onto your bed suddenly stops doing so, it may be suffering from joint, muscle, or spinal problems that make jumping painful. In older dogs, changes in sleeping habits may also signal canine cognitive dysfunction, a condition similar to dementia in humans. According to veterinary studies, around 35% of dogs over the age of 8 may experience this condition to some degree. Dogs affected by it often develop disrupted sleep patterns, restlessness, or sudden changes in routine. Because dogs cannot speak to describe how they feel, behavior is their primary way of communicating with humans. For this reason, if you notice unusual changes in your dog's sleeping habits, it is important to pay attention. Sometimes it may be your dog's way of telling you that it needs help. Imagine waking up at 3 in the morning and realizing that you only have a small corner of the bed left while your dog occupies most of the space. For many people, this might seem like a familiar and slightly inconvenient situation, but from a scientific perspective, that simple moment actually tells a remarkable story. When a dog chooses to sleep beside you, it is not random. In its world, you are the safest place it knows. After tens of thousands of years evolving alongside humans, dogs have developed an extraordinary attachment system toward their owners. This instinct drives them to stay close to the person they trust most, especially during vulnerable moments like sleep. And perhaps the most interesting part is that the feeling of safety does not flow in only one direction. Just as the dog feels safe beside you, your body may also respond to its presence. The quiet breathing of a warm companion beside you can trigger relaxation, reduce stress, and create a sense of calm that you may not even realize. So the next time you wake up and see your dog lying close beside you, remember that it is more than just a small habit. It is the result of thousands of years of evolution, a biological and emotional bond between two species, and perhaps a silent reminder that both of you feel safer together.